Hello, welcome to KJACK Radio. You're listening to KLJX LP Flagstaff. My name is Abby, and I'm here with someone very special in the booth today. Sitting across from me, we have Ricky Montgomery.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, I guess we'll just be having a little chat today before your show tonight on campus.
That's right.
Do you have anything you want to say to start the show? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm tired. It's our first day of tour, and I've been touring the entire year. Check, check, check. Hello, hello. Yeah, I'm excited to be here in Flagstaff. It's a nice weather day today, which is a relief. It's been high hundreds in LA, so not high hundreds, but high like 100 to 110. So not like 199.
Yes.
But
it's been the same in Phoenix too.
I know, and so I was
hot.
expecting. I know Tucson's gonna be rough, but
Yeah.
Flagstaff, great place to be. Happy to be here.
If we jump forward a little bit, then you released your first solo album in 2016.
Yep.
And then in 2020, you kind of had a little bit of a moment on TikTok,
Yes.
online with a couple of your songs. I know in between then you kind of you were in a couple bands, you had a couple different jobs. Was there a moment where you kind of thought like, screw it, I just want to do my own thing and do my own solo music and I'm just going to go for it?
Yes, I would say that moment occurred for me in 2012 when I realized that I wanted to make music, and then my bandmates were all the type to not come to practice all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so I realized, oh, I guess I need to be a solo artist. It was never like a choice of me preferring it,
Mm-hmm.
and I still don't. But here I am.
Do you think you'd rather be in a band now?
Oh,
if you
yeah.
could?
Yeah.
How do you feel like, you have band members that play live on stage? Do you feel sort of
Yes,
like a camaraderie?
I do, but then you're competing with other artists the entire time for their position in your group, and sometimes there's some really rich artists that are like, I love that Ricky Montgomery player.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have
And they're
them.
trying
What
to
if I
swoop
paid
in?
them more?
Oh my gosh.
So that's sort of what it's like to be a solo artist with a band. So having a band that's just like a project
Mm-hmm.
is like less lonely. It's
Mm-hmm.
more, you're a team the whole time,
Mhm.
hopefully. And so yeah, there's a lot to like, but I've got a great band and we're happy, and I try to keep them
Uh-huh.
on my side. So
I love that.
so far so good.
So when you write music, do you write yourself?
Yes, usually. I've been like experimenting a bit more with writing with other people because ever since being at a label, you get thrown a lot of pro writers and stuff, and then
Mhm.
eventually you'll hear things like, "Oh, they wrote this big song," and so
Yeah.
it feels like offensive and dumb to say no to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, I write my own songs. So eventually I did do that more. Jury's out on whether or not I'm going to continue doing that. I might just be a little too in my own head for that long term, but we'll see.
Makes sense.
So yeah.
Speaking of labels and stuff, you've also spoken about how you kind of have trouble balancing promoting yourself online and the machine behind the music versus or how that kind of interrupts your creative process. Have you found some more of a balance there? Do you feel like, I don't know, because you want people to hear your music, but you also don't want that to be your entire job?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's sort of just the future, and we really need government regulation
Yes.
for anything to occur.
Yeah.
So in lieu of that, I haven't heard it on Kamala's platform yet, so
We'll get there,
until
hopefully.
then, we're just going to keep on gritting our teeth and
We just
getting
gotta
it done.
keep pushing for it.
Yeah, TikTok,
hopefully.
love TikTok, by the way.
Really?
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yep.
What about Vine? I know you were on Vine too. How'd you feel about that?
Well, Vine was close to my heart. I knew a
Uh-huh.
lot of people on Vine. I knew the co-founders of Vine. One of them
Oh.
has passed away since. It was terrible the whole time. Occasionally there were good things about it, but I could certainly talk about Vine for a long time if you want me to, but I'm trying to keep it on music. Yeah, it was a great time to be alive, and now it's over, and TikTok has been around now, and like the zeitgeist for longer than Vine was ever an app, which I think it was something that people don't really think about often. But maybe that's just because I was a Viner. It's more on my mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
But yes, I was on Vine, got my start there as a internet figure, and here I am, still alive today.
Making moves in the music industry.
I'm trying.
I love it. You're doing great.
I hope so.
And speaking of that, you released an album last year.
Yep, Rick in stores now everywhere, and then Ricky, the deluxe album, just came out in
May.
May.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks. Well, so you mentioned the deluxe album. I was listening to both of them while I was driving yesterday, and I was curious because you said you kind of like remixed the album, or there's like a certain word that you used when you did the deluxe. You wanted it to be kind of truer to your heart, is what I saw.
Yes.
So I'm curious because when I was listening to it, it did feel pretty personal. I mean, all music is, but you know, there was voice memos from your mom. It sounded like you were interviewing her. There's songs about like love and grief and family and all that kind of stuff. So I'm curious what your creative process was while writing the album and then doing the deluxe version, and maybe if you felt like it was kind of like a cathartic experience while you were working on it.
Definitely was cathartic. When you get signed, you are immediately in a position of rushing. And so, in my case, I had been working on my band, the Honeysticks, at the time, and I was not working on a solo project at all. And so, I had to go from not working on it at all to working on it right now and needing an album today, tomorrow, or the day after, preferably. Overnight, that was my situation. And so it was mostly painful, but also obviously very exciting. The process on the deluxe, along the way, I kind of put out like some of my favorite songs that I was gonna save for the album before the album Rick came out. And I felt like some of my favorite songs that I was making at that time had already been out before the album, and that frustrated me a lot. And so I thought, okay, I'll put them out on this deluxe, and then that'll be, as you kind of alluded to, a more true to me version of a release. And so the deluxe was like a way for me to kind of launder what I wanted to do through like a marketing campaign, which is what you need to do at a label. Yeah, it was an opportunity for me to make something that felt a little bit more true. It's really hard to go from like an indie project that, like, my first album was like a Kickstarter album, to do that fully on your own. Like me and my mom mailed out all the records the first time. To go from that to like a large label is like just night and day. Doesn't even capture it. We'll go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to ask another question, but if you wanted to share.
Well, now I've lost my train of thought.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just have ADHD, and I'm not on Adderall today. But it's just different. Go ahead.
Would you, if you could go back in time and kind of redo this whole project, would you, or do you like?
No.
Do you feel pretty confident?
No, I like it. I like it. I'm prone to complaining, but no, I like it a lot. I certainly wish that I had more time, but I wish that on everything I do in my life. So. Yeah, I mean, I think I wish that I had had a bit more time in advance of going viral to work on an album, so that I could have just like tossed it at the bin
while it was happening.
Exactly, because you're just at, it's such a competitive thing to do that I think everybody that's in that position wishes that they had more time, but like, I just think that's such a normal thing. But yeah, no, I'm very proud of it and very excited about where the two projects have gone. But I also now in I guess, is it October yet? September right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's in September. In September, so many months after Rick E has come out, the deluxe album, I'm on to the next thing. And so I'm actually, as you're asking me these things, I'm like, oh yeah, what did I do again? So I'm recalling these things. But yeah, to put a pin on that thought, I am very proud of it and happy to be here as well.
It was a great project. I loved it.
Thank you.
Of course. You mentioned that you're maybe thinking of some new stuff. I feel like the last couple years, because there was the 2016 album and then there was a break until 2022. So do you feel like now you're kind of getting more into a groove? You're feeling like you can write more?
Yeah.
Have more stuff coming out in the future?
Well, the 2016 and 2020 thing, I was just looking for a producer in LA pretty much the whole time. I was working with a guy in St. Louis, and he couldn't get him to go to St. Louis, or from St. Louis to LA a lot. So. Okay. It's harder than you think, trying to like find somebody that's like your vibe, and they're good, and they're affordable enough for you. But yeah, I've got like infrastructure now, so things are finally going at like a workable pace. I'm like a little company now, finally.
Is that because you were signed to a label now, so you kind of have more support?
Well, that and more so just like having the connections that come from like getting signed. I also have a publisher now. I signed to a pub deal at some point last year, in the last year. Sony, and so Yeah, there's just like a lot of more people around, like knocking on my door, sending me emails, and so that does make it a lot easier to get things done.
So, okay, and then this is like you're about to start your tour.
Today is like the official, unofficial first day of the tour.
Very first day.
Because it's like the college show, so it's like a dress rehearsal in a way. You're gonna see. Actually, I'm playing a new song for the first time today.
I was
I should
gonna
probably,
ask. Yeah, go
we'll
ahead.
You could you set it up and then I'll
No,
respond.
I mean whatever you want to say. I was gonna say you have a new song and you're starting tour. So, what can people expect from your tour, and what are you excited about, and your new song, if you want to share?
Yes, as you mentioned, I have a new song. It's going to be coming out soon. I'm performing it for the first time today. It's called Ed Sheeran, Superfan, in parentheses.
I love that.
It's just about me complaining about my life more. I don't want to go too deep into it yet. I haven't figured out how to... It's a challenging thing to say in interviews, what the song is about, so I've not yet figured out my angle, but... It's very cathartic. I'm complaining about the music industry at large, which means I need to be careful. So, tour starts today. It's the long tour, 6-week tour, longest tour I've ever gone on.
It's very exciting.
It's exciting. I'm very happy. It's a lot of work, but it's a good way to end the year. And yeah, it's one Rick to rule them all, beginning today.
Yeah.
The name of the tour.
What are you most excited for on tour?
I'm excited for this new song a
Okay.
lot. It's one of my favorites in a while.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, and then I don't know. I've got a cool team. I like to be in places like this, and do this part of the job. It's like I like to talk about music, and I don't get to a lot as much as I expect that I'd be able to in a job like mine. And I don't know. You get to travel. You get to go places. I've never been to Maine. Maine's on the tour.
That'll be very exciting.
I'm on to like 46 states out of 50 after this tour, so that's pretty exciting.
What are the 4 you have
47.
left?
Alaska,
Okay.
North Dakota,
Okay.
Hawaii, and that's gonna be it.
Ooh, you're
So
so
3 more,
close.
47.
Nice.
Yep.
More than most people.
I know. Good job.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if we might be almost out of time. I don't know how much time we have left.
I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, maybe I can ask. You mentioned your mom and your mom,
Mhm.
like mailing out albums and stuff. Has
Sure.
she been a big supporter for you?
Yes, my mom is a big supporter. She's on the album, as you mentioned earlier. I had never, on the album, I'd never asked my mom how she and my dad got together. And I was, given that I had to make an album, as I said, like, day of getting signed, I thought, well, what can I write about? I guess my trauma. And so that's just what I happens to do. And so that is me in real time asking my mom how my parents got married for the first time on camera or on audio. And then I made the album. She's a big supporter. She's a little too much of a supporter sometimes. I've got to like whip her out in public. She'll like try to sell my music to random people, which is nice to hear about, but then you are in the situation,
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
especially if you have any fans at all, then all of a sudden they want to network with you and shit and stuff, and that can get pretty exhausting pretty quickly, but it's a great problem to have. So I love my mom. Shout out to Stephanie Church.
Love Stephanie.
Yep,
Love her.
that's her.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I have for you today, unless there's anything else you're really wanting to share with the people of Flagstaff.
Have a great day.
Yeah,
Flagstaff.
of course. Love Flagstaff.
Everybody in the whole state.
We're very excited
City.
for the city.
And Arizona, I'll just say it.
We're better than Tucson. I didn't say
Neither did I.
that. Yeah, we're very excited to have you on campus tonight. There's already like maybe 30 or more people waiting for you.
Nice.
So we're very excited.
Cool.
It'll be a
Me
great
too.
show. Yeah, thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Of course.
It's always colder on your